Hi, dear students. In today's class, we are going to start working with unit number 8, and we are going to analyze different aspects concerning grammar. Okay? So to start, let's analyze the ing forms. Okay? What are ing forms? We refer to ing forms in verbs, but in certain verbs that we use this form after other verbs. Okay? So, what are those verbs by which we can form or through which we can form the ing form? Okay, some of them are enjoy, mind, stop, and recommend. For example, if you analyze these examples, mhm, you will analyze that after those verbs, you use another verb with ing form. For example, I told him you really enjoy cooking. Mhm. So you have enjoy and you have cooking. Or would you mind helping me? Mind and helping. Or it didn't stop raining all day yesterday. Mhm. Or Daisy recommends trying Alfie's tiramisu. Okay, so in this case, with these verbs, we generally use the negative forms. So how do we use the negative form? Okay, well, the negative form is used with the verb, I mean, enjoy, mind, stop, and recommend, and then not, and then finally the ing form. So we can have this example. Imagine not having pizza. I eat it all the time. Mhm. Okay, so what other verbs can be followed with ing form? Okay, we have some examples here. You have a stop, you have finish, you have imagine, suggest, recommend, avoid, mind, miss, risk, enjoy, and some others. Okay, now let's go to the second aspect of this grammar unit. In this case, you have infinitive. Okay, so yes, infinitive verbs. Mhm. So what happened here? We here will show some other group of verbs that after them, if you're going to write a second verb, you need to do it in infinitive forms. It means with the to. Okay, so what are those verbs? We have decide, we have want, we have promise, we have plan, and forget. So what are the examples? She decided to go with Elliot instead. So here you have decided and then to go. I wanted to visit Rome. So you have wanted and then to visit. She promised to take me there, okay? Or I planned to go to some real Italian restaurants. Or she didn't forget to phone. Now, these verbs also have the negative form. So how do we form this negative form? Simple, okay? You just write the verb, I mean the first verb, then the not, and then the infinitive. For example, they decided not to make pizza, okay? So here in this other um, uh, aspect, we can give you some of the verbs that you will need also for practicing the different aspect of the unit. And in this case, you have verbs that are also followed by infinitive. I mean, some of the verbs. What are those verbs? You have hope, you have offer, you have fail, agree, forget, manage, learn, afford, arrange, ask, expect, would like, decide, plan, promise, want, invite, and some others. Okay? So, what happened with these ing forms and infinitive? you have to bear in mind that in some cases and in some verbs, you can use either form. That is, you can use either the ing forms or the infinitive forms. Okay, so what are those verbs? For example, you have verbs such as start, begin, continue, and bother. So in all these cases, you can use the ing form or the infinitive uh, form. Okay, for example, you have it started raining or it started to rain. Or don't bother waiting for me, or don't bother to wait for me. Now, what happened? There is a kind of exception. The first one refers to the difference between British or American English. Okay, what are used the most in those type of English? Okay, so for example, in British English, it is more common to say I love reading long novels, and also in American. But in American English, you mainly use I love to read. Yes, you use the infinitive forms. Okay. Or, for example, when we talk about situations, in this case, you have Polo loves living by the beach in Rio, or do you like working as a waitress? In this case are specific situations, but the difference with the other, the ones I already read about British and American English, they also refers in this case to repeated actions, okay? So another last aspect concerning ing forms and infinitive. When we use those two forms, I mean verbs that can be followed by ing form or the infinitive forms, in some cases, they could have different meanings, okay? And that is the case of remember and stop. For example, if you say, I remember to lock the door, and my mom gets really angry, in this case, you use remember to lock, remember plus infinitive. But in this case, remember something and then do it. However, if you say, remember locking the door, but when I go back, I check it, I always have, remember plus ing form changes the meaning. And in this case, remember means something that you did before, okay? And what about another example, the case of a stop? For example, when you say she stopped smoking 3 years ago. In this case, you use stop plus ing form. So to not do something anymore. When I say she stopped smoking 3 years ago, so the meaning is that she's not going to smoke anymore. She really or actually stopped, okay? But when you say it was hot, so we stopped to have a drink. In that case, we stopped because we were walking. In this case, you use stop plus infinitive. We stopped to have a drink. So in this case, the meaning changes. The meaning is to not do something in order to do something else. Okay? So you have to be careful when using the infinitive or the ing forms in some verb because the meaning could change. Okay? So now, a second or third aspect we are going to analyze in this unit is the use of the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous form. Okay, so if you analyze this photo, for example, we have painted the room or we have been painting the room. Do you think is there any difference between the two sentences? Yes, of course, there is a slight difference between the two sentences, okay? So let's analyze what the difference. Okay, in the case of present perfect simple and present perfect continuous, we have to say that in both cases, we talk about past actions or states which are still connected to the present. That is, an action that started in the past, but it still have a connection with the present tense. Okay, so in the case of the present perfect simple, we have to say that usually focuses on the result. Okay, however, in the case of the present perfect continuous, that continuity makes the tense focuses on the activity itself, okay? That is the main difference we have between these two tenses, okay? So here we have a chart in which you can analyze how works the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. For example, as I said, the present perfect simple focuses on the result. So you have cleaned the bathroom. It looks lovely. Okay, so you ended the activity. So you focus your attention on the result. Says how many? She has read 10 books this summer. Or you use it to describe a completed action. I have written you an email. I already finished. However, if we say, or if we use the present perfect continuous, you are not focusing on the result. In the case of the present continuous, present perfect continuous, sorry, you focus on the activity. For example, I've been gardening. It's so nice out there. Or you want to focus on how long you have been doing something. For example, she's been reading that book all day. Or for example, when you want to describe an activity which may continue. I've been writing emails. So the idea is that you will continue writing them, okay? Or when we can see evidence of recent activity. For example, when I said the grass looks wet, has it been raining? Or I know, I'm really red. I've been running, okay? So what other aspect? We have to say that in the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous, we use some time expressions that are very typical, or prepositions that introduces time, okay? We have the word force, the preposition force, we have since, and we have how long. For both, for talking about the present perfect simple, when we're going to talk about ongoing states. For example, when I say, how long have you known each other? We have known each other since we were at school. Or we can also say that in the case of the present perfect continuous, that you use it to talk about ongoing single or repeated actions, you also use for, since, and how long. But in this case, pay attention. How long have they been playing tennis? Okay, they have been playing tennis for an hour. Or they have been playing tennis every Sunday for years. So in these examples, we are talking about repeated actions, mainly repeated actions, not only ongoing states, okay? So here you have much more explanation referring the case of for. For example, for give you a period of time. For example, when I say I've been working at this company for 2 years, for 2 years, specifies that it is a period of time. However, when you use since, and I repeat, since, give a starting point. For example, I've been living in this apartment since 2015. Okay, so I refer to the moment, the exact moment when I start living in that apartment. Okay, we also could find this week or this month or this year or today or all day. Why? All these expressions can be used for periods of time that are not finished yet. For example, when you say, he's been studying hard this week. So what is the meaning? The idea is that that person is not finishing his studies yet. Okay. And the last one is the case of recently. What happened with recently? Okay, this started not long ago. When you use the word recently, that is the meaning. For example, when I say we've been going to the gym recently, it means that not a long time ago, but just recently. Okay, so what else do we have? We have here some examples to show you the uses of for giving the meaning of a period of time, and the uses of since to specify about a point, specific point. Okay, so in this case you can use for 20 minutes, for 3 days, for 6 months, for 4 years, for 2 centuries, for a long time, or forever. However, in the case of since that specifies a point, you can say since 9 a.m., since Monday, since January, since 1997, since 1500, since I left school, because it means that you left school in a specific day, specific moment, okay, or since the beginning of time, okay. So those are examples concerning present perfect simple and present perfect continuous with the uses of for and since. And the last aspect we are going to have in this unit is the use of how long. How long is a combination, it's a question that we use to ask to amounts or periods of time. So when we want to know the amount of something or the period of time you have been doing something, you usually ask the question with how long. And here you have this example. How long have you been waiting? Only for a minute or two. How long have they been married? Oh, for a very long time, or more than 25 years. Another example, how long will the concert last? It should be over by 10 o'clock, I think. Or how long was your stay in Malaysia? Well, the project lasted for 2 years, but I was there for 2.5 years, okay? Another example, how long have you been living in this house? Okay, for 20 years now, ever since my mother died. And the last example is how much longer can you stay? Not much longer, for another 10 minutes perhaps. I have to be home before midnight. Okay, so the last aspect I would like you to pay attention is that in most of these questions starting with how long, to ask about amounts or period of time, if you analyze the answers, all the answers have the uses of for. Why? Because if you're asking for a period of time, it's common that you answer with for, which is the preposition that give you the period, the amount of time you have been doing something, okay? So that's all for today. I hope you understand this video and you apply the different grammar aspects you have here, okay?